Hey guys, my guests tonight, Brent Knudsen and Jake Cunningham, are going to be telling us about a project they're working on that's going to help keep our bees healthy. We'll be right back. Grab your popcorn and snacks. Find a comfy spot, take a seat or lie down, and let me transport you to a place of fantasy, ghost stories, ancient legends, odd creatures, alien encounters, and other magical topics. You may even decide to join the conversation. From faraway lands to your own backyard, with a small dash of pixie dust. Turn out the lights and open your minds. The journey is about to begin. Good evening, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I hope you had a great day. I did. It was a good day. A really good day. My name is Charlotte. I'm going to be your host for the next hour. I'm also the owner of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team based out of Sacramento, California. We're 45 strong up and down the state, which means if you have a paranormal need, we can help you. It might take us a while to get to you. California is a huge state, but we will get to you. And in the case that we can't get there right away, we do have mediums on staff who can speak with you and talk to you about what may or may not be going on. And if there is something going on paranormally, they can usually settle the energy down before we get out there. So you don't get attacked or harassed or anything like that, but we will get out there. That being said, if you're watching from Facebook tonight, and a lot of you are, the biggest chunk of my audience is on Facebook right now, I'd appreciate it if you would, if you like what you see and hear tonight, leave me a thumbs up. Show me some love, okay? Also, chat amongst yourselves in the chat room. I'd really appreciate it. That puts us up higher in what they call the FYP, Facebook's master computer, and that puts us out to different people, because the key with all this is to share, right? Just share. So, yeah, help me out with that, and you guys can personally share as well, all right? Share us around. If you're watching from YouTube, same thing. Show me some love, and chat amongst yourselves in the chat room. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. There's over 1,000 videos over at YouTube, all of this show. And I'm a photojournalist, so I don't like to cover ghostly, creepy things every night. Like tonight, we're talking about bees and their health. Something near and dear to my heart. You got to keep things pollinated. And that's an example of me, veering out of the format. But, take a look around over there. I have things in files because there's so many videos that I have put them in different files and categories so you guys can find them easier. So check that out. Twitch works the same pretty much. In fact, all the social media works about the same. The only one that's kind of different is TikTok. We're not broadcasting over tonight. Because with TikTok, in order to like a program or to like someone, you have to double tap on the screen. That's it. That's the difference. Okay, that being said, as a kid, I drove my mom and dad nuts. And, well, most kids do, right? You drive your mom and dad nuts. But with me in particular, there's something in my blood, whether it's a hormone or I don't know, there's something in my blood that if there's a bee within 3 miles, it's going to come find me. And I remember going on picnics with my mom and dad as a kid, and we would there wouldn't be any bees around for like I said, forever. I'd sit down to eat, boom, there they were, and I was forever fidgeting, running away from them. I was, 4 or 5 years old, right? 6 years old. And I'd forever have to eat in the car. It would really irritate my dad because they'd have these beautiful picnics planned, and here they'd come. And so growing up, I also had, no matter what, as I got older, I remember we were trying to catch grasshoppers, this friend of mine and I, and there was a queen bee there. I didn't realize it was a queen until I reached down, and the end of that was, it didn't end well, okay? And then just recently, and it wasn't a bee, because I have a lot of bees in my backyard now. You guys have seen my photos. I love going out, taking pictures of them while they're going from flower to flower. But it was a wasp, or a yellow jacket, always around the garbage cans and stuff, and I happened to walk by there, and I might have been like 10 feet away, but that sucker saw me and got me right where this thing is under my eye, this bruise here, that's where it got me. So I had a swollen side like that because of that. So I still have this attraction to them. However, there's a lot going on with pesticides. There's a lot going on with out there with how these bees are starting. We're kind of that, the population's not as strong as people think it is. And I know we talked about Africanized bees about a year and a half ago on here, and how they were wreaking havoc. Well, these gentlemen that are on tonight, Brent Knudsen and Jake Cunningham that are on tonight, they've come up with a way and they're working, and it's still a work in progress, but they come up with a way to make bees healthier. And I think sound is huge. I'm just learning that sound can affect a lot of things, including for paranormal stuff. It can affect a lot of things. And so I'll let them tell you about what they came up with, and we can talk about this. And I also have some questions about, because this technique, as I was reading it, one of the things on this technique is it helps calm the bees down and make them more docile. And I wonder if this would work with the Africanized types of bees. This could be huge with those. But let's get them on and hear about them, how they got involved with the program, and they've got a website. I think it's called forthebees.com, and it's a very interesting place to visit. Here we go. Let me bring them in.
Awesome.
Hello. How are you?
Hey, Charlotte. How are you? Thank you for having us on. It's a pleasure. And in regards to your audience, we hope we can fill the air with some wonderful knowledge. And I think a lot of this energy we're talking about especially with the subtle energies we're talking about from the magnetic PureWave cell we're going to introduce, but also all the frequency that's out there in the world affecting the paranormal worlds that I know that you and your audience tune into. Also relates to all living beings, all living beings, including the bees. So thanks for having us on. It's a pleasure to be here. And Brent, good to see you got on. Okay.
Yeah, nice to be here with you, Charlotte, and and share and lead us into your audience and what you'd like to know.
Okay, hang there really quick. My camera just unplugged itself for some reason. I'm going to go ahead and restart, but just to tell you, I'll be right there.
Yeah, we noticed. We're missing you.
Yeah, trust me, we're used to it. And so, we'll get into a little bit of our background, everybody, but I know the focus is talking about the technology that Charlotte was talking about, but also the mission that we're on to help support these pollinators, as you know. And if you don't know, I may be preaching to the choir here, but without the pollinators in the world, we will not survive as a human race. We need to start doing something to play a proactive role in supporting these bees and all the pollinators in the world. But the bees are unique, the honeybee especially, because there's a guardian. There's actually a conduit. You talked about the support systems you have for the paranormal and the beekeepers are the shepherds of the bees. We get to have a relationship to the bees by our relationships with the beekeepers, and it's a critical part. So I'll pass the ball. Are you back on, Charlotte? I see you. You're there. Yeah, we're back. Good.
Sorry about that. I moved something, and it's very temperamental.
No problem. No problem. I'm just trying to fill air here while you're.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Tell me about you guys. Tell me about you guys and how you got involved in this.
Yeah. Well, do you want me to start on that, Jake?
Yeah. Why don't you start off?
Okay. Yeah. Well, Charlotte, it's interesting because before I met Jake, my background really is in fintech. So I was in the banking world of debit and credit and putting algorithms back in the 90s up here in Canada for things called Interact. And so it was all mathematical, but I developed a whole company for debit and credit called Tangerine, and we went on to do, quite well with that. But my real passion behind that was really sacred geometry, because that's what really forms those algorithms, right? So even in debit and credit or moving money around, it doesn't matter, or cell phones, it's all algorithms of mathematical configurations, right? So all through those years of when we were, doing our public companies and so forth, when that ended for me in 2009, I put all my energy. We were bought over by Goldman Sachs in 2009, and that allowed me to go full time into developing really what I could do with geometric shapes that I've been working and fascinated with for years. And the first step I went into was in energetic medicine. I looked at people that were doing that, and that's where Jake and I met. We met through biofeedback and energetic medicine, but I was muckering around with heavy, powerful magnets, and how I could formulate those magnets to hold frequency. In other words, hold design. And so in a more elaborate way of showing you that through all the years, I noticed that there were certain geometric forms that were in our lives everywhere. And that was like the flower of life and star tetrahedron, which is the Star of David. You see that everywhere. You see it at Walmart. You see it on law enforcement. You see it everywhere. All religions have it. So I started to play with that. And as I got into that and seeing more and more, and I'm speeding it up here, that I realized it was a blueprint at a cellular level for not only us as animals, but insects, plants, and everything, right? So then I started to play around and get that configuration right. And I'm really speeding this up so that I can formulate what was called a PureWave cell that affects us and animals and insects at a cellular level. So this is what led to the bees. So when Jake and I met and we started going down this rabbit hole, what we did is so much testing, and we can bring up visuals if you like later on some of the testing and what we did and all these kind of things. But that led us to the bees because there was a big problem under that. And so we started going out to the beekeepers, which are the guardians. I mean, without the beekeepers, we don't have bees. So we went out there, as they were skeptical. We started putting it in, and we had amazing results. So I'll kind of stop it there, and I'll let Jake come in.
Yeah, and the short story is I grew up in Boulder, Colorado, kind of the land of the fruits, flakes, and nuts, and all hippie now turned yuppies. All the hippies now driving their Audis and their BMWs now. But it's a progressive area. It's an area. It's a college town, and my parents grew up as pioneers in natural medicine, and my mom has a natural food cooking school, the School of Natural Cookery. My dad had a natural clinic to help take care of people, and I started to learn at a young age how the subtle energies and also the connection to nature is at the root of most healing when it comes to the human body. And so going to school out by you in California, south of you in Santa Barbara, California, then working in Los Angeles for a few years, coming back to Colorado, I was helping bring these energy medicine technologies into the world. And that led me to meet Brent over a decade ago, where he was on that search, playing with the algorithms, designing the geodesic sphere he did on his land, which is like for all the Star Trek fans, the holodeck is really what this was. I would go up, I'd meditate, I'd go and find my peace and manifest the next chapter of my life. And while he was doing a lot of the research, and during that time is when we came together, stayed connected, talked about all this common thread and interest, and he started with the research on his algorithm and the sacred geometry and the technologies. He had an opportunity to do some research with bees, and that was the beginning. And then we went down the road of bringing technology to the human market, but we realized without the bees are indirect influence and connection for the well-being of humanity. And there was a common thread there. Also, the bees are quite, like you told your personal story, there's an affinity to bees that just is pure. There's an authentic connection with all animal life, different than our wonderful human brothers and sisters. There's a different level of objective. They're gonna tell you the truth, right? They're if something's distracting or bothering them, you're going to see it. It's going to show, and it's also an indication species, Charlotte. What's happening to them, like you mentioned, the pesticides, the exposure to a lot of this electromagnetic pollution and this dirty smog, it's affecting them. It's also affecting us, but humans are a little bit more resilient to stress. We're the most resilient to stress of any species in the world. How we adapt So the interface species like these start to affect the collapse that's unfolding,
Mhm.
and seeing a technology making a difference, we now are at a place, and we'll talk more about the mission and what we're doing on the
Mhm.
boots on the ground and our grassroots movement.
Mhm.
But we found this very just beautiful and special way we can make a difference and also give back while providing amazing opportunity for everybody to be involved in something greater than themselves. So it's exciting, and that's kind of a summary of how we kind of connected, and it's quite special. And I encourage everybody out there, if you have not spent time
Mhm.
around a hive, to find a way. Find a
Mhm.
way. It's one of the most healing frequencies and energies you can be around. They say, I don't know what stat, I think Brent, you taught me this, was that beekeepers have one of the longest, if not longest, life expectancies because of that resonant frequency that they create. And we'll
Mm.
talk more later about some research that I know Magda Havis, a great researcher, was just on with Brent on a radio show. I think
Mhm.
that's how we connected,
Yes.
Charlotte,
Yes.
talking about some real, tangible, third party, don't take our word for it, real research that needs to be also, I think, invested in this. I
Mhm.
think for us, sometimes for us to be taken seriously. And I know in the paranormal normal world, sometimes that those instruments that you use help validate
Mhm.
the work sometimes. And because
Mhm.
what we're dealing with is a lot of the unseen. We're
Mhm.
dealing with the unknown. And energy and frequency is something not seen to the eye,
Mhm.
but it's there. And so that's what's exciting. We get to now start playing with the research, showing the visuals and the Carillion photography of the field of before and after, and
Mhm.
the research Magnet is doing with the dirty electricity in the hives causing the bees and the videos of that. Seeing
Mhm.
it now is really, I think, the next step in the future, and talking about it more. You're helping us right now talk about it and
Absolutely.
share it, which I give you big props for. So that's kind of
Absolutely.
my background.
And when you talk about sacred geometry, it makes perfect sense because when you look at a beehive, if you go in and look at the honeycomb, they're built. The bees are building those already in geometric shapes.
Honey?
Absolutely, Charlotte. They and not just it's a hexagon. It's a
Yeah.
six-sided. It's six-sided. Again, it goes back to that's what the Star of David star tetra. It's 6 points,
Mhm.
right? If you
Mhm.
look at the Walmart symbol right on their store, it's got 6 points to it, right? It's right there.
Mhm.
If you look at any religions, it's got it in every single one of them, and we have whole
Mhm.
movies and things on this. If you go back to ancient, where it did is it actually came through Samaria, through Egypt, and then through Rome, and then into the religions. So
Mhm.
what it basically is, and this is what I want to tell your audience. If
Mhm.
you look at Charlotte, you when you were conceived as a one-celled human that started life, as it wouldn't matter whether it was insect or you or me or Jake, the first thing that we do is we form the flower of life, the first 6 steps
Mhm.
that we do at a cellular level. And this is all under microscope mitosis. And that means it's a blueprint of how the cellulars work and how they communicate. So when we do this, when we get this frequency right, and we do it with bees
Mhm.
or any kind of animals, particularly as well, really respond. What happens is they become calmer, more natural. They do what they're supposed to do, as
Mhm.
opposed to agitation, right? Because we're agitated by frequencies, weird
Mhm.
noises, or right. So it's all in line. So as you see here, we have the four RBs here. It's the four and the letter RBs. We started the company four RBs to go
Mhm.
out and start to go to the world that way. We also did incredible testing with humans that was so exceptional. And we can, if you like and have time, we'll show you some of the visuals of the building
Okay.
and testing and things. So a lot was put into this, but now we're having fantastic results. But so much so that a lot of our sales are directly to people. They take the PureWave cells to themselves because it cleans their food, it changes their water, it helps their swellings or arthritic pain. So all these things are used, or they use it for their pets. We get so many testimonials on what's happening with pets when they put it in their bed and or under their food. So this is all connecting. But what we're doing now, though, is, and as Jake alluded to, we have a mission. We provide all this for no charge to the beekeepers. So if we make them healthy, then the bees are healthy because they're expanding, not contracting. So we provide all the resources. We give them the cells for no cost. We provide food on wildflower seeding for them at no charge. We provide seeds. So now all of a sudden they can expand and they don't have this financial burden. And it's the public that's helping. They now are able to get involved and directly linked to them. So that's how we're doing it.
I find this so interesting in that how long does it take once you install this thing, say out in a field somewhere, right, or a beekeeper, all the hives, how long does it take before you start noticing changes in the bees?
Well, they on going through with all the beekeepers we have and commercially, what we notice is we don't sort of do it on a day basis. What we do is we get it in there early in the season, and what we actually did is we compared whole yards of bee hives with cells in them, and then we did their other yards that we left alone. And the difference in honey production and the way the bees operate was phenomenal, right? It was so what we were noticing. It takes, to answer your question, it takes a little longer because it builds the ability, we believe it builds the bee's immune system. So just like with us, it takes days and weeks. And as new larvae are coming in and new bees, that's all they know. They're exposed to that frequency. And those hives are powerfully strong, right? We had opening in the spring where they were just busting. They had to split all the hives. So we have all this documented. But it's really about immune, just like with us. If you build our immune system, what an amazing human being we are when we have a high immune system, right?
And the average queen can live longer, but the worker bees, the drone, their lifespan is much shorter. 30 to 60 days is a worker bee.
Yeah.
And so, like Brent said, when we get these in the hives, usually we love to do it, and it's really a 12-month before we really start to pay attention to the data, because it's gone through, maybe not that long. Again, every hive is different, how active it is, and what the goal is. But we want to see this. It's a long-term relationship with the beekeeper is my point. It's not, this isn't the quick fix. And there's also an important caveat I want to say to everybody. When we work with the beekeepers, we also have to vet also their surrounding environment. If they have hives right next to a 5G tower or a power line, or say a neighboring crop that's being sprayed with glyphosate every day, the cell can only support so much with that when there's that external influence. At the same time, the research is showing the boost, and like Brent said, we're finding it's supporting the resilience of the bee. And part of that is the vibration that they are able to almost recharge and have a higher vibration. And that's also what's helping them prevent the attachment of a very popular parasite in the bee colonies, the varroa mite, from attaching. So combination of the raised vibration, it's, for example, let me just put it in layman's terms.
Sure.
You and I both walk into a gathering. Okay, we're not on Zoom, or we're not on Facebook or YouTube or wherever we're streaming right now. We go into a party, and there's a bunch of kids running around, blowing their nose and snot flying everywhere. But we come back, and you're fine. You show up for your podcast the next day, you're good. I succumb to a nasty bug. How in the world did that happen? We just went through this the last 4 years. Why did some people go in, leave a room, they're now knocked out for a week because of the flu, and the other person, it didn't fade them? Well, because we all have this different, now we all have different foundation and archetypes of our immune system. But if you are resonating at a very high level, you have a less probability of letting the little superbugs and the viruses, the pathogens of the world affect and succumb and knock you off your horse. So at the end of the day, the bees have a higher probability to thrive by raising the vibration and raising their life force, allowing them to be more productive. Thus, the result, the side effect is really a healthier hive. And then a side effect of that is really more honey production, right? That's just a side effect. That's a result, right? That's not the what's unfolding. That's a testimony to the work being done. So, but it's interesting and we love it, and it's helping get a lot of people involved in something, and we're raising their awareness, Charlotte, and you're helping us do that. So I thank you. I really do. Yeah. Reaching out to us for the moment, letting us get on to share this with your audience means the world.
And when you think about it, what you guys said was correct, because the immediate population of bees isn't really going to show a lot of changes. But as the new ones are born, the old ones die off, the new ones are born. Whatever's going on, it's just like with us. We carry things over from our parents. And this is what I see happening with the bees. Is as they get mellowed out, and all this starts to work for them, it gets passed on down the generations.
Yeah. I mean, looking at it like that, absolutely. And if you in this life, you surround yourself with more supportive relationship. You supply yourself with good energetic foods, and and then you bring offspring into the world, and you create the thriving environment for them. You are changing their lineage. You're helping. Now, there's some things that get stuck, and there's genetic, things like you talked about the African bees. I'm not an expert on those, but I know their aggression is something that we haven't done a research specifically on those, that type of bee. But it would be very interesting too. And I know it would.
Well, and Charlotte, the reason we know it works, because we're talking about variables, but we actually did. We actually went to food laboratories, and what we did is we actually tested those pathogens such as E. coli, Streptococcus, and listeria. That stuff that comes right from the grocery store that you're buying from, and everybody that comes in romaine lettuce and so forth. And so what we did is we actually sent the PureWave cell to Pathogenian Lab, which is a food lab in Quebec, Canada. They specialize in that. And then what they took out ground chicken, could have been beef, but they took out ground chicken and raspberries that had certain pathogens in, and they tested it before, and they put it on the cell for 5 minutes, tested it after, and in many cases up to 50, 60, 70%, those pathogens were reduced or neutralized is really the better word, just like sound canceling headphones, right? And so that's why that we know that it's affecting and canceling out certain pathogens that are detrimental, and it does it for humans as well. Very
interesting to me. And when you started this, talking about the sound waves, and I know we deal in sound waves too in the paranormal, with the EVP stuff and stuff. And I just recently discovered, and I live a closed life. I just recently saw a video on how low sound waves can affect the human brain and what we see. So, your work with sound waves again makes a lot of sense, because it would affect them at those sound waves.
No, it is, Charlotte. But what it is, what we really want to understand is, how do we lock in a frequency that we know is working, right? So, and what dawned on me way back in ancient times, obviously they didn't use electricity and so forth, but you know what they did have? Magnets. They had magnetism, right? So that's why, that's what got missed. Once you start using magnets, the incredible power of them, that what happens is that when you do it properly, what I was able to do is glue the frequency that I wanted and hold it. So because we're getting all kinds of frequency, just like in the paranoia, it's coming, it's going, it's dissipating, it's coming, but I had to lock it in. So I want to make sure it's always there. And so that's what the PureWave Cells about. And people, when they go to our site at 4RBs, which is the letter 4RBs, they can see a lot of what we're talking about. They can see the PureWave and the cells. They can, in the hives, they can see where we did testing. You know, there's a lot more on there. But that honey production that came out of there is the most premium honey in the whole world. What we've done is we take the honey out of those hives and then we entrain it with a higher frequency. And again, this is all on there. And that now people are benefiting. Honey's an amazing, it's an amazing property anyway, but our honey is by definition of what we say is one of the premium honeys in the world, right? So, so that's a gift back from the bees to us, right? That's where, that's back to our health, right?
And for honey, for people that don't realize it, it's better for you than sugar.
Oh,
I know people, including myself, that use it in baking. I also use it in my oatmeal, because it's 100% better. And the people that use it are really healthy because they're not getting all that sugar in them.
Yeah, because what happens is the body, what it is, why the body stores fat is it doesn't recognize that processed sugar, right? So what it does is it stores it. Honey, it already understands what honey, and it's a natural product, right? So it doesn't store it. That's the difference.
Absolutely. As I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, because you mentioned meditation, Jake, and I'm thinking, with the low range sound with this, plus the geometric, design, this is like meditation for bees.
Well,
yes, that's well said.
Well, when we rest or when we're calm is when we are optimal, right? We regenerate when we rest and when there's calm, and and everything sound, light, mic, all the waveforms that we're communicating on now through the amazing technologies of the internet. It's everything is a frequency, and what Brent was alluding to is holding and harnessing, finding the right one that's going to play a positive role for us, using it for the good, not just for, let's say, I don't want to say the bad. I don't want to say Wi-Fi is bad. We need it and use it every day. But a long-term exposure to something is never good either. And I just want to take everyone down kind of a history a history lesson in the moment, because when we're talking about, like you said, low-level frequencies, sound, or radiation, or light, we're at a stage where for the last 30, 40 years, we've used technology in the world of medicine for a lot of amazing diagnostics, assessments, from the what is MRI, magnetic resonant imaging, MRI, to the CAT scan, to measurement of frequencies in the brain waves, the electroencephalogram, the EEG, the electrocardiogram to measure the heart frequency. We all know what a flat line means, right? There's no life. Frequency is part of everything, but we've used it a lot for information. We've yet to step into the next era of using energy medicine frequency, subtle frequency, for healing, for health, for true therapeutic benefits, for treatments. We're not claiming this treats anything, by the way. And trust me, I live in the world of regulatory FDA. That's also why working with the bees is so much fun. And they, don't bring up their past trauma of when they were a child little bee and how they were neglected by the queen, or how the drone bumped them in the little hive and now they don't feel adequate. No. The bees are they're programmed to go and do their mission. And so to see these energies that we've been able to harness make a difference in this population, it is exciting about where we're going into the future of how to apply this. And I hope in the future we can be back in the future talking about how this and the research we've done with water, on blood, on these types of things. Something interesting is one of the best ways we use the PureWave cell and the feedback we've gotten is with sleep, in the state of calm and relaxation, because that's where the body's healing and regenerating. Everyone knows you repair your body when you sleep, when you rest. You're not repairing it in the gym or even during the day, or no. That's all putting stress on the body. But if you don't recover and rest, you're not going to repair. So back to the bees, helping them stay in a state of less fight or flight, static survival mode, they're able to live their best life, right? And their highest life and thrive. And so we're excited to see how that does with humans, but also animals. We're animal lovers. I don't know if your audience is cats, dogs, all those amazing partners of ours in life. They also are pretty honest with you, aren't they? They're going to let you know if something is resonates with them or doesn't. And so that research is something we're really excited to move into in the future. But the bees are keeping us busy, and it's fun and exciting.
I can understand that. My dad, for years, because he had, he believed it was like tennis elbow, but for years he wore a magnetic bracelet.
Yeah.
And it compensated. His elbow didn't hurt anymore because that was going through this, just the right frequency and right through his system. So, and there's a lot of that. I see that with spines because they can put things on your spines as well and regulate that way. So it is very medicinal. So I would think, like you say, for the bees, it's an untapped thing. It's an untapped horizon for us all.
Yeah.
Where now? I want to ask you something, Charlotte. I'm just curious. Now, you told at the beginning your story of how bees were attracted to you.
Yeah.
And I have a theory. So bees resonate and they communicate through the magnetic field. And I think that you have a high magnetic field. That's why you're in the field you're in. You can tap and tune into these subtle energies. And those bees picked up on that. Those bees knew that. They wanted to follow you. They wanted to be around and guide. So anyway, that's my theory for you.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So how many hives have you tested already? Because you say you did distribute this out to people. So how many hives or areas have you tested this?
Oh gosh, Brent,
yes,
you know more than me.
We're probably getting into thousands of hives now, right? So some of our main tests were done with about with a major commercial beekeeper that had about 800 hives. So that's where we started. But now we're in over thousands of hives, right? So and growing. We're ready now to expand out because the public is finding us. So now we're able to expand it out with the mission. And that's the biggie, is the mission is really letting people come in and support us. And now we're getting people that are starting to look at, setting tracts of land aside, doing other things. So now we can start to really spread it out and really make a difference. And really, it is the people out there that are making the difference. They really are,
Very interesting. Now, you mentioned you had some visuals that you could share with us.
Yeah, Jake.
Absolutely.
Maybe start off with showing them the chrysalis building where we did a lot of testing or something, and
Okay, excellent.
Or whatever you want to bring up. Yeah,
I'll share my screen here. I'm gonna just pull up for our
video just do a run through, show different things.
Yeah. I want to
I'm so excited to have you guys on. This is great.
Yeah, no, thanks for having us.
Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you.
And I love to learn stuff.
We can definitely, streamline and do some more focused elements of what we're doing too. Can you see this okay, you guys?
Nope, not yet. I can't.
Okay.
Oh, it's right there. Hang on. I'm seeing it down there. I see your computer screen.
Is it?
Yeah, now I can. Yep.
Okay.
I can see it now, Jake.
I just want to
there we go.
I want to see and just show some of these pictures here. Are you able
Start off with
to?
it maybe showing it in the hives or something, and so they can see what we were talking about and then where we were testing. So stuff like that, right?
Okay. Yeah. Let me do this
You know, because
here.
we've been talking about the PureWave cell. Let's show them what it looks like and
Right.
where we put it.
I am going to. What I'm going to do actually is this, because this has some of the best visuals. Can you see the screen?
I can see it. Hang on. Let me pop it up there.
Are you able to see
There we go.
4RB?
Yep.
Yep.
What I
Yep.
want to do first, I wanted to share, hey, for the number 4, the letter R, bees.com. But what I want to do is here has some of the best visuals that I want to just clip, because this Brent, we are able to
Yeah.
highlight with a lot of the
Yeah.
visuals from the video.
Let's show them where they put it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what I can do is I'll not put the video on there, but I can talk over how it's placed
Yeah.
in the
Okay.
hives.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we are supporting,
Wildflower
obviously, with,
seeding. Yeah.
yep, the missions, helping support getting those cells planted. You'll notice something fascinating is that usually a cell will get coated with propolis and encased, similar to like if a rodent or something gets in, they'll encase it to protect the bees. They actually really keep it almost spit shined, because it's not a, what do you call it? And it's not a foreign object to them. It's not something they feel they need to protect from. And so what you're
Yeah, well,
seeing here.
what we're showing you here is we're actually showing you actual beekeepers that we're working with, and you're seeing that not only are they giving feedback on the PureWave cell, but we're also showing you how we communicate and how food source is so important for them. So this here that we're looking at, that was in the spring where it was just overflowing over the wintertime with bees, right? So we had to split. And why that's so important is that's cost effective for beekeepers and so forth, not to lose their hives. And but again, um, we did comparison. There's a good example how bees like to be attracted to it, very much so. And we do a lot of interviewing on the results. So you're seeing all of this here. But then we also go out and do a lot of wildflower seeding for them in spring and fall, which I think there's some shots up here of that.
Mhm.
Somewhere along here. Oh yeah, somewhere in here. Just click in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is important because we actually go to the property, Charlotte, and then this is food source. We broaden out all the wildflowers, which is food for the bees, right? So, and we provide all that at no cost to the beekeepers, and we consult with them. So it's really hands-on. It's really a hands-on mission program that people can really get into support with purchasing our products or the honey, and we roll this right back in to expanding out the beekeepers.
And if
Very
you want,
interesting.
there, and to tag on to what Brent said, from the support, we're able to reinvest to manufacture the cells. We're able to then help support the beekeeper, and our partners, beekeeper, that are part of the beekeeper program, support them when they do need new hives or queens or nukes or these types of things, because environments and things change every season. This isn't, I just want to let everybody know too, we're not coming from a place saying the cell's the only thing you need. The cell
Right.
is going to come and be the savior, and every hive is going to thrive. There's so many variables when it comes to a healthy hive, where we just know this is playing a phenomenal supportive part in it. And so we want to be real. We want to be real with your audience and not come. Now, this
Jay,
is
can you take us to where the honey video is? I'd like to show them a little bit of how we treat the honey.
oh
Just
yeah.
in there. Yeah. So remember, Charlotte, I was telling you about how this is the premium honey in the world. And here I'll show you why.
Okay.
Is as we scoot along here, just scoot it up a bit, Jake, towards we get into Rafi's shop there.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's further up. Further up, further up.
There
Yeah,
we go.
right here. Yeah.
Here we go.
So we have in our facility where we actually, this is an instrument that again, I developed and use it. It distributes frequency at different speeds. And as we go forward, it'll show you more. It has all the sacred geometry in those cylinders. And then we originally did it as a medical device because it works so well on people, but I didn't want to go that route. So I started to use it for the bees. And so in here, I'm explaining how it'll give you a visual here. So there's your geometric form that I used, and it has to be perfectly aligned. This is how I hold that frequency, right? So this is giving you the visual. So then the magnets go into those pockets, and it looks like this in a 3D form, where inside, and then it's put in the cylinders, like so forth, and it will show you through magnetic form what the frequency looks like. And then we can spin this, and we can entrain the honey with the frequency based on how we want to lock that in, right there. So there it is spinning there. And so we treat all the honey, it can be treated right within the box, right over the unit, and that's before it goes out. And then we have a little test to show you before and after what that honey looks like. So how much it's energized. So we did electrography, where we tested right here, we tested the honey before we treated it. And so we'll show you what that looks like. So there's a vial of honey before we treated it. And that's what it looks like live. And then we'll show you what it looks like after treated. There's the energizing, right? So that's the honey you're eating right there at a core level. Look at the frequency there, right? Is dynamic, right? And so when we say this is special honey, we mean it. And it's creamed, it's raw, it's non-heated. And so this is, we put the picture of that right on there. So this is the honey that we offer. It's very unique. And it comes out of those hives, and that goes back to support the beekeepers. That's what it looks like inside the cell, so that you can see now how that looks. And that's how I glue the frequency, right? That's how it's locked in. And that's 48,000 gauss of strength that's in there.
Wow.
Okay.
That's incredible.
So these visuals are worth a lot more. And then we manufacture them ourselves. They have to be handmade. They can't be machined, because magnets ruin machines. They mess up machines, right?
Right.
And then when you move the cell, it amps up into large voltage. So when you spin it on your body, it immediately raises up about 2,000 volts. So there's where the circulation comes in, right?
Right.
So it's great to show you these visuals rather than talk about it. People can actually see what this does, right?
Right. How long does it take to build a cell?
When we have it ready to go, probably we can do a cell about every 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Like once it's ready for assembly, and then Jake, show them the chrysalis energy building where we did a lot of the testing, where you and I hung out and did a lot with people, and then started getting involved with animals and insects, right?
Can you see that okay, you guys?
Not, I can't see the picture. I'm still looking at the video.
Let me stop share and I'll reshare.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm getting used to StreamYard here a little bit.
Yeah, and Charlotte, this will kind of tell you that this building is not an ordinary building. This took about 3 years of planning, and it's a frequency in itself. And we'll show you a little bit inside, and we could do almost anything in there. It was somewhat like a holodeck. There it is there. Yeah. So
that's cool.
So that was the lead in, but it's the back end that we did all the testing. It absolutely blocked out all frequency. It was the most neutral environment. You felt like you felt like a load of bricks had been taken off when you went in there, right? So there is a few shots of inside. We could do, there's a side shot of it. Inside, you could work with light frequencies, and I actually had crystals in the floor, pyramidal crystals that put up fiber optics up through, and so we could change sound and light and so forth, right? And I'll let you. That's Jake's wife and his son Case. Yeah.
Who's now,
Well, we were doing treatments, but we were doing a lot of testing in there in those days.
Yeah.
So there you can see different using the instrument. So So there was a lot that we were doing through those days. So hopefully that gives some nice visuals to it.
Yeah.
It does. It makes a lot of sense. So, as far as this stuff being distributed to hives, are you just distributing to one area, or is it all over all over the U.S.?
All over the U.S. We're now what, Jake? We're in Hawaii, Indiana, Florida. We're in, and of course, Southern Ontario, but we're expanding out as to wherever. This year, probably we'll add another 100 beekeepers over this next 12 months, all over the place. Now, Europe we'll go to later, but we want to stick in North America pretty much so that we can kind of develop it, and then it'll go worldwide.
And there's two parts in terms of, there's different ways to work with us. One is a lot of our cells, our support in the community has actually invested in. And so those, we don't keep the same relationship and feedback loop as our beekeeper program, because those are more or less our customers who are using them in their hives, but there's not the same arrangement and,
That's right.
partnership of sharing information, data, and part of the research. So we're in a lot more hives than even the beekeeper program. But in terms of the beekeeper program, Brent mentioned we're across mainly North America. We have some, internationally. In terms of our honey now and the cells, yeah, they're across our country right now, Canada and North America, U.S. and Canada primarily U.S. But we're excited, and we want to just invite all the listeners at the very least. Hey, you're more knowledgeable about what this is. That at the very least, we're not here to sell anything. We're here to just share the message, share the mission.
Share the mission, yeah.
Get involved. Buy a great lip balm. Buy some honey. Try the cell. Use it in your own life. You can also become part of the 1,000 Bee a Month Club for $10 a month. That money goes directly into supporting us manufacturing and getting these cells, and supporting the beekeepers through wildflower planting parties, the other support systems we offer in the regions. And then, of course, if you're interested, and this is something, Charlotte, you and I need to chat about, is the ambassador program and helping us share, which you are an ambassador for this now, whether you were aware of it or not. I made you an ambassador, and you have been grandfathered in. I got your back. So we'll talk later about that, but I just want to let you know that we'd love to work with you in that way too. So
now my next question, I know you guys are using magnets. Is there any electricity involved in this for people that get this thing?
Is there any electricity involved with the cell, you mean?
Yeah. To run
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
No, it's just it's absolutely because I want once you get electricity, you go to AC. I want that DC earth. I want that earth frequency. So that's what it is. Yeah.
Well, you bring up a good point. So with so much technology out there, it's electronic. It means it has to have an outside power source from the grid, right? From the 110 volt or 240 volt, or it's powered like the computer everybody's on, even like the phone you may be on right now. It has to be charged and powered. There's an electrical current running through it. This is static energy, static magnetism. It's not powered, and the way it's done is by the neodymium magnet, and rare earth metals are consisted and compounded into neodymium magnets. Neodymium magnets are very, very high demand right now with all of the EV vehicles, right? All the production of all of our technologies in the world, from manufacturing, and it is a limited resource, those rare earth metals. At the same time, these magnets are phenomenal because they will only lose a percentage every 10 years on average of gauge strength. So it's a lifelong product. It's something that you don't charge it, you don't need to charge it, and it will last a generation or more than that of a generation. So, and that's why our guarantee on them is so well, because if anything was to ever happen, in the beekeepers or in the consumer market, you guys, you get those magnets back to us, you have a brand new cell. It's super easy,
Nice.
and it's something that easy is not doesn't mean it's simple. You know, we all know Apple's story, right? With Steve Jobs. He took something complex and made it simple, not easy to do. This is complex, yet in a pure, simple form, and that's what makes it so special. And be careful, because it will snap really hard on different metal that's around you. A refrigerator,
Oh
you
yeah, it's
don't want to use
very
it as
strong.
you don't want to
Very
use it
strong.
as a refrigerator magnet. You want to put it in the refrigerator to help the
Yeah.
food
There you go.
Yeah.
stay healthy, right? I mean, you
Absolutely.
could. It might. You wouldn't lose the picture of your cat. That's for sure. It's powerful. Yeah.
Fantastic. What's next for you guys?
Well, we're right now we're Jake and I off in the next day or two. We're down to Las Vegas for 4 days. Jake, yeah, 4 days, and we're with a bunch of amazing naturopathic doctors. Right, so we're introducing the cell because they're very intrigued by it, and they buy from us as well. So we're down there. With that show, and so it's kind of exciting. We we're also in that we don't advocate for the medical thing, but they always are coming at us, so we're down there with them.
Yeah. And it's going to be fun, because any naturopathic oriented doctor or health professional understands the big part of how they serve the world and humanity is through providing and offering good sources of food and nutrition. And so by coming into that market in Vegas, we've been to the show last year. It was really successful. They understand the power of, wait, if I'm not able to find these herbs, the homeopathy, the herbal remedies, the food, even at the grocery store, to provide not only for myself or themselves, but their clients and patients, there's a problem. So we have that, but we also will have the honey. And by the way, we could do a whole show on honey. I don't know if it's the good fit, but the benefits of honey, the
Right.
enzymes,
That would be great. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
is
that's unbelievable.
phenomenal. So if you
Absolutely.
and did you
Absolutely.
know, my wife just told me the other day, if you've heard of kids swallowing those, the magnets that are in small
Yeah.
devices like remotes.
Yes.
If you swallow one, anybody, not just a kid, do you know this? Do you know the remedy?
No.
You get a tablespoon of honey in you.
Really?
The honey coats the battery and allows it to pass. It will save your life. And I
Wow.
was like, you got to be kidding. Are you serious? And I looked it up. And so anyway, that's just a side thought,
Yeah.
came out of my mind,
Yeah.
but pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. So thank you, Charlotte, for welcoming
Thank you.
us
I would
in.
love to have you guys on again and talk about honey. What else are bees? Even more
Yeah.
bees. This is very fascinating.
Absolutely.
I love having shows where I can learn things. That's what it's all about.
Uh,
So it's all about
Well, thank
education.
you.
Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much. You want to repeat your website real quick?
Yes, I've got it right here on my shirt here. If you can see it, it's where is it? Four RBs, right? Four with the number 4, the letter R, and bees.com. Right? So, and lots of stuff on there. And hey, look at us over this year. We'll get back to you, Charlie, because by this time next year we should be all over the place, right? It's really gaining super steam now, right? So
Sounds great. Thank you both for coming. I so appreciate it.
Thank you,
okay.
Charlotte.
Thank
Thanks
you.
everybody for
Thanks so much.
listening. Yep. Be
You
well.
have a great rest of your evening, guys. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, guys, that was fascinating. I love to have educational programs on like that. And if this does what they say it does, and can produce a lot more honey and better quality honey, that's good for all of us. It's good for all of us in the end. Tomorrow, we're going to stay with the news format. If you guys saw the schedule already over there on Meetup, the opioid crisis. We're going to be talking about that again. That's like our 6th time delving into that. The thing is, I've let you guys follow me through what I've been going through, and the twists keep coming. Okay, the twists keep coming, and so I have a lot to discuss tomorrow, and I also am going to be taking some action on this whole thing. But this just suffice to say, when you hear the way it went down, things have gone down, you'll understand why I'm about to ruffle some feathers on this. But so that'll be tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. We're going to be talking about the opioid, because the stuff that's happening to me right now is happening to people all over the United States. It's not just me. When I got on Facebook at one of the pain forums and mentioned what happened to me, at least 4 or 5 people chimed in to say, "Hey, that's happening to me right now." So it's not just me. It's not just me sitting here whining into the mic or anything like that. This is actually happening all over. So I'm real excited to share that with you guys. And then I'm going to try some ways to undo the mess, as they to try and deal with it. So that'll be tomorrow's show, and I hope you guys join me, because it should be an interesting one. I want to thank my 2 guests tonight. Fantastic. Thank everybody else who is floating out there and lurking and listening. I appreciate it. Linda Salvin, thanks for the like. And so remember, if you like the show, share it with 5 people. If you hated the show, share it with 5 of your enemies. We're equal opportunity here at California Haunts Radio. Just trying to get the word out. Also, let's talk about the Patreon a little bit. The new show that I'm going to be doing, which will be, like twice a month on Saturday nights. For Patreon members, what will happen is that you're going to get a private viewing room with me. It's kind of like when I hold my online events here on StreamYard, and you guys can come in and chit-chat, amongst yourselves and stuff on these events. Only this time you don't have to go on camera. You don't have to be on camera, because it's going to be a private room, and I'll be broadcasting directly through YouTube for that show. So you're going to see it's interesting, because when I show my backdrop, it's 10 times bigger the way YouTube has it set up. So I got to figure out, why. I got to figure out if there's some setting I have to use to back it down. So I will be doing that on YouTube, and by doing that on YouTube, you'll have your own private link to get in there, just like we do with our other events. So yeah, nobody else will be able to see the show. And what I'm planning to do is do the live show with you guys, and then maybe down the line, maybe the following Saturday that I'm not on the air, go ahead and air that show after it's been shot. You guys get first crack at this. So I'm throwing ideas around like that. Also, with the Patreon, I'll be doing a pre-recorded show tomorrow, and I think I've got another pre-recorded show to set up, so I'll have 2 pre-recorded shows coming out. The other one I'll probably film maybe at the end of the week or early next week, but those are the ones where you guys can see them a week ahead of time. So tomorrow's show will not be put on the air here until Thursday of next week. So that means when it's up at Patreon, you guys have exclusive access to see the show. All right? I think it works out that way. And there's other things coming up. Pam Nishikawa is a member over there, so is Michelle and a couple other people. And at that first level was 18.7 cents a day. But if you check it out, I put all kinds of new things on the tiers for you guys to look at and enjoy. So depending on what tier you want to be on, it all depends on what you're interested in, right? And I'm also going to have raffles for shirts and all kinds of things once we get up to a certain number. The first 20 Patreons, 25 Patreons that sign up, maybe we'll do a raffle for shirt, free raffle. I'll just randomly pull names and things like that, and send you guys and send the winners a T-shirt or a book signed by Medium Nancy Matz, or a new ebook. I'm running a couple of ebooks right now, so you might get a copy of my ebook. Who knows? So that's the great update over there, and putting it together, getting the stories together, and getting that ready to go. But again, tomorrow, yeah, there's been some interesting things that have occurred the last, probably two weeks pertaining to my pain situation. But like I said, when I posted the thing on Facebook, people chimed in. So there were more people than me complaining about the same thing. It's not fair. It's not right. So we'll discuss that tomorrow, again, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. All right, guys, I want you to have a great rest of your evening. And next time you go out in your yard and you see the bees flying around, enjoy them, okay? With me, I go out and I run. But, you guys can go out there and enjoy them. And I can share another story with you really quick before I sign off. When I was a working reporter for a newspaper in Placerville, they had a story, and wouldn't you know it, on a beekeeper. So I went out there and no bee suit, no nothing, and I shot photos and I interviewed the beekeeper. I was following him and kind of like in his afternoon of working with the hives. So this is somebody that like I said, that they've always kind of come after me. I didn't get a lot of stings, but they've always come after me. So I wish there was footage from that because you can see me standing there and there's bees it's just like those pictures of bees all over my skin, all over my face, everywhere. I did not get stung. But when I walked out there, I figured I was going to interview somebody like in a house discussing what they do. Instead, they took me out to the hive and I about had a stroke. So it was an adventure to say the least. All right, on that note, I'm going to let you guys go. I will see you tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Pacific, and we're going to talk about this opioid epidemic. Have a great evening, everybody. Bye.